Welcome to Toffee TV. It is the final word. Everton 2, Burnley 0. We end the season at Goodison Park with another victory. Oh, how sweet, Baz. But before we start, this video is sponsored by OneFootball. The OneFootball app makes it easier to find all the latest scores, stats, and latest news all in one place. To download the OneFootball app, click the link in the description. If you're on Patreon, we are live right now. We are live. It is 11 minutes past 1 in the morning. We've got back from the match. We've done our other videos and we're doing the final word live. So if you are on Patreon,
Ben,
let us know.
It live.
Give us some of your thoughts, some of your comments on the game, which we'll get into. But same 11 as we've been using in the last few games. Obviously, that's his preferred. That's his preferred starting 11, clearly. Which, you know, I think to me what that says is in the summer we need more players because, you know, you can't just rely on 11 players all the time. And I think there's parts in this game that showed that a little bit. But the consistency certainly at home is there now.
Yeah, I mean, what would he have done? You know, seeing when I done the predicted starting 11. And thanks for all of the lovely comments about the FIFA cards, by the way. It's good. Schneiderlin was in there, and you know the only other option I said at the time was potentially putting Tom in there alongside Garner, but it's difficult, I suppose, for a manager because the club's we're on a good run, particularly at Goodison. And if he starts messing and making 3 or 4 changes and the rhythm of the team goes and Burnley turn up tonight and beat us, then you finish the season on a bit of a downer. You lose a bit of momentum. And don't forget that every place is money, isn't it?
Yeah.
You know, so...
Well, no, I mean, I think we spoke about this in the preview. There's still a chance to get Europe. There is. If we win our last game and Wolves don't, you know, pick up 3 points in the last 2 games and other results go our way, we get 7th place. You can't be dicking about with that. The only thing I wasn't really thinking about Schneiderlin and Tom Davies. The position I was thinking of is more just Richarlison after seeing him go off. He's obviously playing through the pain barrier, and it only took really one whack to his ribs to take him off, and that was the only really position I was thinking of that would have been up for grabs tonight. But that's what I was saying about when you've got a squad and you need to use your squad because you've got injuries or suspensions. Or you've got a player who's injured and you can say, you know what, we've got a ready-made replacement there so you can go out this week. But the manager at this point, and it's a good point to have it going into the summer, doesn't feel like he's got that at the moment, doesn't feel like he's got that flexibility. He knows he's got players, he just hasn't got players that fit the system like that starting 11 do.
Yeah, and the thing with Richarlison is he was worth the risk, wasn't he? Because we scored the first goal from it, albeit it's been given as an own goal. It was going wide, to be fair. But
who's to say it wouldn't have bent back?
Yeah, you don't know. I mean, I like the...
What about if Roberto Carlos' free kick against France in the Tournoi? If that hit a deflection and gone in, people might have said, well, it was going wide anyway.
If it would have hit a deflection?
Yeah.
Do you mean if it would have deflected?
No, they had a player called
Deflection.
Deflection.
Be careful with the deflection. Listen, if Richarlison doesn't take the shot, we don't score the goal. So for me, it's his goal, and Everton give him it. So I don't really care about anyone else. But he looked quite lively till he got that whack, didn't he? After about half an hour, and he was kind of gingerly approaching.
Why are you using that word? That's our word. That is our word, and you can't use it. You can't use our word. I can use that word all I want, but you can't use that word.
You've often said, "Oh, that's a grey area," and I've been fuming.
You mean like it fuming inside?
Just didn't know what to do.
Didn't know how to get it out.
Oh, what shall I say?
I mean, we live in a world.
Using my grey matter.
We live in a world where that's the state of play.
Well, listen, I know what you're saying, and there would have been You see, the problem is, and you've just actually hit the nail on the head with it, is that it isn't that we haven't got some good players who aren't in the team. It's just that he just don't fit the way he plays. You know, when Theo Walcott come on in the second half, and he done little bits, but in general, our system and the way we play just changed totally. The dynamic changed.
It does.
But
sometimes, just on the point, sometimes you want players who change the way you play.
Yeah.
I mean, that's what, but
not when you're in a rhythm.
And also not when it's a forced sub rather than you want players to come on.
Well, subs sometimes are forced, don't they?
But that's what I'm saying.
You want to change.
You want to change the game sometimes to go your way by offering something a little bit different. But if you're playing well and you just want to keep playing well, you want to. I mean, that's been the notable thing about Calvert-Lewin in the last few weeks is that it doesn't really matter as long as he's doing what he's doing and helping the team. The manager is probably not going to say, "Well, hang on, you've missed that chance and this chance." He can't really afford to do that because Dominic Calvert-Lewin offers so much in terms of what he brings to the whole team. But that's what they'll be looking at in the summer, I imagine.
Yeah, big fella there. My dad making comments there. Good feeling heading for next season, right direction at last. It's exactly what I said at full time, and I don't want to say it too much because things often with Everton bump. But no, you're right. I think that for us now, with the team is that in tune with what the manager wants, you can see that it does take the odd thing. If you can't replace like for like, and Dominic Calvert-Lewin's a perfect example because everything outside the penalty area is brilliant. What he does. It's just that he doesn't look like he can buy a goal because the chances he misses, he's got powder puff shots in the box, and then the one that rolled back to him, edged the box, he hit it out the stadium. And he's got no composure at all, and that he's got to learn that. But everything else outside the box, his touch, his headers, the way he holds it up, is brilliant. But we're going to go probably closer to where we want to be. He's either going to have to start getting himself in the box and taking chances. But we're also going to have to buy one, maybe two strikers to battle it out with him as well. But
definitely, yeah.
What really impressed me tonight, though, mate, was the way we started the game.
Yeah.
We started the game at such a fast pace that they just couldn't live with us. And I think the first 15 minutes or 20 minutes, they put the possession stats on, I think it was 93%.
No.
Was
it?
Yeah, which is absolutely berserk. Maybe not 15, but it was 93. And me and Andrew sits next to me, we're like, 93? How? But it felt like they literally were just kicking the ball out or away, and we were coming after them again, and that really impressed me. And if we can take that thing forward into next season, then this team could do something.
It was intense. Well, it was really first 15 minutes or so, first 20 minutes, we really did lay siege. Not necessarily to their goal, but just in possession, like you just said. We just had the ball. We were looking at the ways we could obviously get behind them as possible. Because they came with a plan. They came with one up front, Wood, and he literally, I mean, that is the perfect name for him, by the way. And
well, where was Barnes playing?
Barnes
played a bit deeper.
He plays deeper, doesn't he?
Yeah,
but he's a unit as well.
Yeah, that's true.
And then you've got loads of runners, and obviously the way they play, like obviously the pressing game is a big thing now for a lot of sides. So as soon as the opposition get the ball, they will press. They're like it's not quite the opposite, but the way they look at it is as soon as you get the ball, they get back into their shape as fast as they can. So it's a slightly different thing. They try and get straight back in their shape, and they say to you, you know what, you can have the ball, try and break us down. And that's where it slightly disappointed me second half, just jumping ahead, is that second half, for me, I thought we played far too much into their strengths by starting to just throw balls into the box, which they could deal with all day. But in the first 20 minutes, we were probing and really trying to just look at different ways we could get behind them. And the first goal, I mean, what's great about the first goal? We talked Dominic Calvert-Lewin. I think Richarlison's almost in the right back position. He puts a ball into Dom. Dom goes down the line for him. Dom then holds it up, comes in, and Richarlison makes a beeline to go central. And that shows the flexibility, having a proper front three, not just a striker and two people who play either side of him. It's a proper front three. Richarlison goes central to the space that Dom's left. Gets it out of his feet and has a shot. And I mentioned on my player ratings is that whether it's his goal, whether they say it's his goal or it's not his goal, it's his goal because, or it's such a well worked almost from the training ground goal. And you know what? So what if it took a nick? Sometimes things do need to take a nick to open a game up. And luckily enough, it took the nick. I mean, we used to say it wouldn't have gone in anyway, and it's gone in the back of the net. And I thought, as soon as that went in the back of the net, I thought, right, can relax now, because it's not going to be. I mean, I've sat through the 90 minutes at Crystal Palace where we huffed and puffed, where we probably needed that kind of little bit of luck on the day. Thought we've got that now, because it was funny because I was sitting here, I was watching it thinking, we've actually gone past the time in the game where we'd scored against United and Arsenal. And I was thinking, that's quite interesting. That you're playing a team like Burnley, but it wasn't long till we got in the lead. And I thought once we got in the lead, I just thought, yeah, we'll be all right here.
Yeah, it was the measure of the goal as well. Like you say, the ball bent down the line. Dom showed brilliantly, held it up, bought himself some time. Come back inside. And when you do that, and you have got that fluid front three, that's what we've been talking about. When you play. You see, this is the other thing, what the manager's done really well, and Marcel Brands as well, but we've tried to play this way ever since David Moyes left.
Yeah.
We tried to play with a 4-3-3 ever since Moyes left, and it's never ever been, it's always been what Moyes' formation was, which is essentially 4-5-1.
Yeah.
And we tried it with Rom and we couldn't do it. Rom, how many times has Rom isolated playing for us? When Ron went and Rooney was up there on his own, it didn't work, and then we huffed and puffed with that. But now, because of Bernard and because of Richarlison, you've got a legitimate front three.
Yeah.
And a front three that are fluid. All right, in general, Bernard will stay where he is on the left. Only. But Richarlison and Dom, because Dom is prepared to run out wide as well, it does give you that fluidity. And when you've got people who interchange in those front three, that's what a 4-3-3 is. A 4-3-3 isn't what Burnley had. Burnley had a 4-4-1-1 really, but it was more like 8-0-1.
Yeah.
Or whatever it was, 8-1-1. But no, the goal give us that little bit of just like a little pat on the back of lads, you know what you're doing. And then we go and get the second goal, and I believe Coleman is the 20th Everton player to score 20 goals, and he scored in the 20th minute, apparently. So there you go. But that was another patient build-up, though. And again,
what we didn't do is we didn't allow them to just get rid of it.
No.
It was good football. We moved it. There was a couple of shots. It bounced around a little bit. Dean had already thrown one in. And he comes back to him, and he has another, and it's a great strike, to be honest.
It's a good save,
Was it?
Yeah, you know why? Because he thinks it's going low and it doesn't. It stays up, and he has to react with the hand. And
I thought.
I mean, what was Seamus doing?
Well, I thought Seamus was going to be offside, and I've looked at it again. He's not offside clearly, well and he was at he did in the post match, and I heard him, and he just said, Tim Cahill actually said to him, you held your line like a centre forward, and he was like, well, I'm a defender. I should know all about the line.
Yeah. Spot on.
He said, and what was great about that goal was, it's your left back creating a goal for your right back, okay, in Fortuna's situation, but it's like, that's what you want. That's like the first season of Martinez, Baines to Coleman, and that's what, that's what you want. They're the, it makes such a difference when your fullbacks are creating goals for your other fullbacks. That's where you're like, yeah, this is actually working. This is we're doing all right here. Because to be fair, in the first, I would love to see the heat map of the first 20 minutes of our fullbacks, because I would imagine they were almost like another set of wingers, because they were so high up the pitch. Yeah. It was absolutely incredible. I mean, Baz is searching for the heat maps as we speak.
Literally looking as we speak.
I mean, it's no good for the viewer, but
no, but for us.
But that was 2-0, and it was funny after it went 2-0 because They had to make. I mean, the heat maps essentially just looks like Predator 1 and Predator 2.
Yeah, there's your heat map for the game. So they were, So literally the fullbacks were camped on the edge, basically playing on the edge
in
of
the
their
first
box,
half. But it's funny because when we went 2-0 up and they had to change it, they actually started playing like decent football. And listen, they're not my team, and I can't speak for them, and I can't. Their squad's not great, and you do the best with they can, and I've got fair play to them for what they do. Yeah. But you just looked at them when they started playing and thinking, these are actually all right. These would probably win a few games if you just let them play now and again. But I suppose.
But it's built on being tight, though, isn't it, and being awkward and yes, he could be more expansive, but he's not going to, because it's He does what he does, doesn't
No,
he? You know, he does. I wouldn't want to watch it every week, but that's no slight.
We have watched it.
No, I know when it was painful, you know, and that was one of the things we were speaking about walking out the stadiums like 12 months ago. Couldn't wait to get out the car.
Yeah, we'll talk about that later. But 2-0 up, and I think we had Gylfi's chance where
I don't know what he was doing.
I think he thought probably I'll smash this and it'll just arrow into the top corner, and he just got it wrong. Yeah, and maybe if he'd laid it back
if he just cut it across, it was 3-0. Or if he just hit it without trying to whack it.
But he went for something else.
Yeah.
Tackle on Morgan Snyderman by Westwood.
Horrendous. Have you not seen it?
No, I've not seen this.
Red card, mate. Horrendous challenge. Studs just here on the thigh. Ball's nowhere. Morgan gets the ball. He goes right over the top. And the referee, I thought he was going to give Burnley the free kick because Snyderman went in, but he got the ball. His feet are on the floor. Westwood's is up here. And spoke to David Prutton at half time, and he said it was a red card, and then see it again, it was a proper red. And incidentally, I don't think the referee gave the yellow. I think the fourth official gave the yellow because Silva and Coleman ran over to the line and was arguing with the fourth official because it was a horrendous tackle. Should have been straight red. Honestly, it was really bad. And luckily, you know, it was on the fleshy bit of your leg. So
I mean, to be fair, the whole of my leg is the fleshy bit.
Well, there you go. So your shin would have been fine. But what I mean is, if it was lower down, he might have had an issue. But it was, you know, luckily he was okay. But he was a moaning little. He was all like that, Westwood. The referee should have ended.
He is, though, isn't he? He is. That's exactly what he is. But talking about Snyderland, Snyderland had a good game, didn't he? Because I thought tonight, Garner had a little bit more licence to go forward. And I thought Snyderland, where we'd said to him in the last couple of weeks, maybe that, you know, you don't notice him, so it's a case of you don't notice him in a game, so it's like, well, he's played well if you don't really notice him. But tonight I thought he was a lot more noticeable because he played more of the role that Garner normally played. I mean, Garner still did a little bit of it and did break up play a little bit, but I just thought tonight he had just a little bit more licence just because of who we were up against and we were playing at home. And
I thought he was man of the match, to be honest. I thought he stood out. I thought the two centre-backs were fantastic because they were up against, okay, not the most skillful players, but two lads who give you the game and you know you have to battle with them. But I thought Snyderland was brilliant, I really did. I thought everything he did was excellent and he kept it going, and he looked like when he first came in and he was just keeping the tempo, and he was carrying it forward, getting it back, and he was always on for a pass. And I think when you've got someone who always makes themselves available for a pass, it makes everybody else's job easier. He didn't hide. And I just, listen, you know, we said last season he didn't impress us with his attitude last season. You know, and that's probably putting it kindly. You know, you were out in Lyon when he got sent off, and you said you didn't want to see him again. I think a lot of Evertonians felt exactly the same. And then we had the whole Morales and, you know, Duncan sending him from training or whatever it was. And, you know, he seemed like public enemy number one, didn't he? Because we'd seen how good he was when he first came in, and then the drop-off was whatever. But this season, and we know he's had some problems this year, but I think it's a testament to the manager, the fact that he hasn't been in all the time, and yet when he's come in, he's performed. Yeah. That's really difficult. Yeah. You know, some players just simply can't do it. But he came back in at Cardiff, and everyone was like, what the... And you have to say, he hasn't put a foot wrong in the games he's played. Yeah. Really.
No, he hasn't. He's
been... I honestly think if he'd have come on at Newcastle, we'd have won the game.
I think that's the funny thing, isn't it? When we played Newcastle, I know straight away that they were my thoughts straight away. I know they were the thoughts of a lot of people saying, well, really, that's the sub it should have been. It should have been put him in midfield and snuff it out. Don't put Mina on, because all you're doing is inviting Newcastle to keep doing do what they're doing. Yeah. It was him. He's got the experience to go, no, we'll put a lid on this. And listen, sometimes you've got to learn. You've got to learn from your mistakes. And I think Silva strikes me as a manager who will learn from his mistakes, who is learning from his mistakes. He's done that all season, I think. And I think that's the thing. That's the thing, I suppose. And a lot of, with managers, when people say, well, give them time. I think if you give a manager time, but he keeps on repeating the same mistakes, like a certain Spanish manager, then what can you say as a fan, or even or a pundit or anyone else? If you're seeing the same mistakes week in and week out, you all you can say is, well, he's either going to change or he goes. And if someone isn't prepared to change, then they go. Whereas Marco Silva in this year, listen, I mean, it's too short a time anyway, realistically. But I think that he's looked at the situation and gone, right, let's just change something then. Don't keep trying to do something till it's done to death. You've got to be flexible as a manager. You've got to be. You've got to know your own mind, of course you have, but you've still got to be flexible. You've got to. When you watch the Man City documentary and Pep's got a guy who he works with who basically he's got a job at Man City. All he does, by the looks of it, is he's the only person who Pep is prepared to listen to him because he's the only guy who will just tell him how it is. And he's not even a football guy. He was in water polo or something like that.
He's in an external sport.
Yeah, and he was just like, he's the only person that Pep listens to because he knows that he doesn't bullshit. He just tells him how it is. Yeah. And I think, I'm sure there's people like that at the club anyway, and that's why people tend to keep the coaches and stuff around them.
But you do need that. You do need someone who will say, no, you're wrong. I don't agree with that, and this is why. Or not. You don't need yes men in football, and unfortunately, we had it.
Great stat by Joe McGibbon. We haven't conceded a goal. Why Morgan Snarland's been on the pitch since Cardiff away.
Yeah, because he wasn't on. I think Newcastle he didn't play, did he? And Fulham he was injured, wasn't he? Or he wasn't involved with Fulham. So, which is mad. They're the only goals we've conceded, isn't it?
Yeah,
since that break.
Got 5 goals.
No, but I'm saying it's mad, isn't it? It's like, 9 games? It's like 7 wins, 6 wins, isn't it? 1 draw and 2 defeats. So it's been fantastic. I mean, the last 5 home games, went since City beat us, we have not conceded a goal. We've won 4 and drawn 1. So, Schneiderlin was excellent, and the midfield just looked so solid, didn't it? And I think we got to half time. I think the frustrating thing, if you were going to be a little bit frustrated, was we hadn't added to the 2. It was only 2 because you're thinking if they get 1, it could make it a bit awkward when the game really should have been off the
Isn't that what we've been calling for though? Like a bit of game management.
Yeah.
We get to half time.
We're greedy as a fan.
Yeah, of course. We get out. Half time comes. Come out. And to be fair, we started again not at the same tempo we started the first half, but we started quickly going for them, and then it sort of just started dropping off then, didn't it? And when they put 2 up, they had 2 up front, and it was almost like a little bit, we were being a bit cautious and they were being obviously a lot more carefree.
I thought we just become sloppy.
And that's what I'm saying. But that's where it started. That's what I'm saying. That's where it started. It started by them being a little bit more ambitious, and then they started to win the 50-50s. And then what we started to do, or what I certainly thought we started to do, is we started trying the Hollywood passes, the passes that weren't on. And again, not doing, which is what we should have done against Fulham, and what we should have done in a lot of games, is just slowing the game down for 5 minutes and just making sure everything was right. And even though you mightn't go anywhere, you just take the sting out the game, and they run around a lot and don't touch the ball for a couple of minutes, and they're like, whereas when you get the ball and then you just keep giving it back to them, you're the one who's likely to get tired because you're running.
That's what they did to us early on, didn't they? They were just giving us the ball back, and we don't. I mean, Brian Gardner on Peyton here said the commentators on the Premier League feed were saying we look like Man City. I couldn't believe the praise you give. And that's in that first 20 minutes, we did look like Man City. We just looked like, and I've seen Liverpool, it was just intensity. Second half, I think obviously we lost to Charleston, and the 2 minutes into the second half, he went down again, and that was it. And then Theo come on, and it's just not the same.
Straight lines, isn't it?
Yeah, it's not the same. And we don't get, and to be honest, the amount of times he made a run in behind and Coleman didn't give him it. Coleman slowed it down. He's wasted then because he's not one that comes short and turns. So, but we started. You're right. We started Sigurdsson twice. We had great breaks, and he's trying to fire balls through.
Bernard
did the same, and you're like, just keep doing everything right. And I know. Listen, this is what they do, and it builds confidence, and the confidence to do it. But sometimes, like Bernard was doing the lovely back heel, we love him doing, but almost for the sake of it, twice in the second half, and it's like, don't need to do that, just keep doing it.
Keep the ball.
So when and I think the other thing as well, certainly what I felt was, it was so easy that when it's that easy, you do drop your level because lacks of concentration slipping. And they did step it up a little bit, fair play to them, and try to rush us a little bit more, but they're limited, like you said.
Well, Wood had a couple of half chances, didn't he? He had the one where, he'd had the goal given for offside in the first half, I know. And then there was one where he got the ball and he knocked it too far ahead of him, and Pickford got it. And there was another one, wasn't he, which he hit straight at Pickford, I think.
That was the only shot.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. That's the only shot they had. So they had those little moments, and
they had one where they broke 3-on-1, and Schneiderlin got back and made an unbelievable interception.
But unbelievable. It was funny because I was sitting there and I was thinking, if we were in 7th now, my bottle would be gone. But because it felt like there was really nothing on the game, I was just sitting back on, it'd be all right. But I was thinking, if this had been like November, or we were in 7th right now, I'd be like, my anxiety would have been through the roof because.
But isn't it good that the confidence, you're saying that now, right? And I remember sitting here and we were like, I don't know how we're not going to concede a goal because we just look so frail. But now, when that second goal went in, I was like, it's done. Even if they score, we'll score again. It's that confidence. And what that does then is, as fans and as a fan base, it takes everyone down a level so that anxiety doesn't filter through. Yeah. And I think as a player, the players, it's the belief. Like, we beat United, we beat Arsenal 1-0. So we scored early on and we kept the clean.
I do think there was times in the second half where they did
we were sloppy.
Where we were really sloppy. And because... Listen, I know it was last game of the season's always dead funny because after the ground they're just waiting to get off to go and have a pint. Let's be honest, they always are. And it's like, can we just win the game and go home, please, or go off for a pint, please? And it almost doesn't. It doesn't help create like an atmosphere or anything. And the atmosphere when it came out at the start was great, but then there was times in the second half where there was just a lull because it was like we
weren't doing enough, were we?
That's what I'm saying. But as a fan, you're just sitting there and it's. And because you know you're 2-0 up and you're thinking, well, we'll win this, it was just one of those games, and as I say, we had little nervy moments, but then he brought Lookman on, who I thought added something to the game. I thought he was just he didn't add anything in terms of a goal. But what I mean, he started running at them, and I think he did give them something to think about. Whereas Bernard went off, and with Richarlison sub and Walcott, that's enforced, and you don't want that because Richarlison's playing well. But I did think Lookman added something, and he started running at them. He obviously hit the bar. He really should have scored after Walcott should have scored again. Yeah. I mean, why can't professional footballers hit a ball hard?
Walcott and Calvert-Lewin, it got the Osman syndrome. Yeah. Leon with like the power of Jimmy. The power of a baby in his shot, every one of them.
I've seen a video of Ronaldo's kids today, hit a ball harder.
Look when it's one from 20 yards, it racks the bar and goes over. 8 yards out, it's like a back pass and you're like, what is going on? Well, I just thought when he come on, first of all, did his shorts not fit him? He was messed with his shorts the whole game. When he came on, he looked like, at first, I just looked at him and thought, you don't even look interested. But then after about 5 minutes, he started like getting into it then, and it was like, probably just took him a bit of time to warm up, and then he did. What he does brilliantly is he moves the ball, manipulates the ball so well. He's not lightning, because he's not a runner. He runs with the ball, but he's not one to knock it past him. No, he's a dribbler, isn't he? And he can turn, he's got really quick feet. And that's what you want to see him, driving at them. So he did add something, he gave them something different to think about. But you still look at him and go, is he a starter for us? And he's not, in my opinion. No. I couldn't see him replacing Bernard.
But I think that's what we were talking about last week, weren't we, on one of the shows, when we were saying about that's what a run in Europe gives you, is the ability to allow players like him, games, and him and other players. That's why you want Europe, is because of those players.
Just never looks happy.
No, he doesn't.
Even when he was walking around at the end, he gave his top to someone.
He's strange in terms of he doesn't reflect outwards. No. You don't know what he's ever feeling because he doesn't seem to reflect it outwards. I mean, you look at people like Mina. Mina walking around the pitch at the end, about 20 yards behind everyone else.
He just hung off and went, this is my time.
Basically strutting around with the Thriller jacket on.
Yeah.
incredible scenes, absolutely incredible scenes. And you see him, he's smiling, you see other players. Gomez is working in the club shop at 5:30. Incredible. Absolutely, you know, he's doing his double shift.
That is literally, that's commitment, isn't it?
Double shift.
And I thought Coleman and Luca Dean, but just delighted. And I think what he's done as well, to his credit, the manager, and I think he does deserve big credit for this, is that when you look at that team, there seems to be a real team spirit there now that I've not seen for a few years. A proper, not saying people didn't like each other, but there seems to be a real togetherness.
But how can you forge your team spirit when the turnover is so high? I mean, let's be honest.
But I'm talking probably maybe Martinez's first year. The last time I've seen a team so together, and that was probably running on from David Moyes as well with a few new. Just if you look at them, look at the goal. There's a picture of Dean and Coleman when Coleman scored, and a pair of them, and just little things that you see and every player's involved. And I just think the managers obviously worked really hard at that. And there's something Moyes was blob on with it, and he had to be. And it was like, you get the dressing room right, you're halfway there. And I think this manager has a similar ethos.
you run through brick walls for each other, won't you?
Exactly.
Do the extra thing for each other.
And it makes, listen, in this league, it makes a massive difference. But you're right, at second half, there was a lull and it gave them a little bit of impetus, you know. But then we stepped it back up again and got control of it again, I thought, for the last 20. And we started. Then Lookman, like you say, made a difference and give them a different thing to worry about. But I just want to talk about Walcott. Because he come on, and I'm not saying he doesn't come on and hide, but I don't, for this team, I just don't know what...
Do you think, I know what you're trying to say, but you're just not saying it.
Yeah.
Do you think that, do you think the problem is, right, do you think the big problem is, and I think this is the big problem, is that the style of play simply does not suit the player.
Yeah.
So he looks like, imagine it all being a jigsaw, right, and you've got this little space left, and the space is like, you know, and he's the opposite of that, and it just doesn't fit.
Is the space like one of the pieces where they're all sticking out, and then, do you know what I mean? The 4 bits, there's like 4 holes that it goes into, and he's like 3 holes.
Just like 3 holes.
Yeah, it's just not working.
Essentially, it just doesn't fit into the way we play. So therefore, when we move the ball, and the way Richarlison moves and he comes inside and he holds it powerful. Up, he holds the ball up. I mean, look at Richarlison, right? Richarlison never ever, like, you very rarely see Richarlison get the ball and go, right, I'm taking you on a pace. What he does is, he slows the game down, and that allows a lot of the time for Seamus to go round the side of him, and then he can go then, because he's intelligent and he's quick.
He's strong.
You never ever see Walcott get the ball, stop, and then think about what other people are doing. Walcott's entire game for the whole of his career has been about getting the ball and I will run faster than you with the ball. And for a long time he could do that. Now he can't do it. Now he's 30 years of age and he's going up against 21-year-olds.
He went on a great little run near the end.
He did.
He
what did he do at the end of it?
What
did he do at the end of it? He just played a terrible pass and it went to their play. And that's what I'm saying. Whereas with Richarlison, you want players with... See, that run, right... What you want him to do is you want him to run, and you take a couple on, and then you go, right, now I'll hit the space, run towards the space. But if the rest of the team are set up in a way that it's in training is that we do this, we do this, we do this, how can you work with a player who simply doesn't know how to play? That's it. Like, if he came on him and went, right, I'm going to adjust my game to play a little bit more like the player I've just replaced. You give him the benefit of the doubt, but he doesn't. No. He just wants to play like Walcott because he's played like that for 14 years in the Premier League. And what can you do about that? Nothing.
Old dog needs tricks and all that.
I don't want to say that he lacks football ability, and I don't want to say he lacks a football brain.
But you got him.
No.
He doesn't. I don't think he lacks football ability, but I think the brain bit might be. I just think probably what it is he's just used to playing a certain way that suited him, isn't he? And this is a little bit different, and he's not. We're not getting the best out of him, and so that's a decision that needs to be made this summer. If someone comes in, is that for the amount of times that he's done something for us this season, really, coming off the bench, he scored against United. But other than that, has he really changed anything?
I honestly believe that if someone, let's just say Southampton came for him. Now, let's say Southampton said, right, we need a centre forward who is a ball over the top, who will work hard, who will try and forage from the front and press from the front. He would do them a job. He'd do them a job. But our manager clearly doesn't see Walcott as an option playing up front. I mean, something we spoke about earlier in the season, but he obviously does not see him, because what he must look at again is about the jigsaw. You look now, since Dom's been up front, all right, we can talk about all the negative things, right? But the positive things are huge in terms of how he lets the rest of the team play. And that's a huge factor. And I said it on my player ratings video, isn't it? That we've come to the stage now where that it's almost like we've accepted how good he's become as a centre forward, as doing that role, that now people are asking for more. But don't lose sight of the job he does, though, because it's a very, very unselfish job Dominic Calvert-Lewin does for the rest of the team, and that first goal proves it. And he'll take a lot of stick off a lot of people who call him a championship player and all the rest of it. He's not, because that job requires self-sacrifice that some people simply wouldn't give.
Well, hang on, ask yourself the question. They had a lad up front. Both of their strikers have scored double figures this season. Them two up front. I wouldn't swap them for either of them.
No, because
they to me are, probably being a bit disrespectful, but they look like, compared to other Premier League strikers, they look like championship strikers. Big, strong, good at what they do. You
can get a tune out of them, but
I think Dom's got more to his game.
What I'm talking about is that Dom is like the big piece in the jigsaw for the way the team plays at the moment. What you've got to do is go out and find the same shaped jigsaw, just but it's made out of gold.
Yeah.
Right? And that's fair enough. Problem is that Walcott does the way he plays just doesn't seem to fit any of the positions. And if it fit one, I'd probably say it fit left midfield, left side of the three. But he's not. But he's not Bernard.
No.
And he wouldn't work. And then you'd say
he wouldn't work with Luca.
He wouldn't work with Luca Dean. So but if I wanted him in one of those positions, I'd want him cutting in on his right foot, because the goal he scored against United and the one he missed tonight prove that he's better coming off the left when he can almost do the Thierry Henry finish.
Well, he Southampton first home game, he missed the chance off one of the greatest moves ever, and he put it wide. If you remember, he laid the goalie down and put it wide off the right hand side, where if it was on the opposite corner, he'd have just bent it in, wouldn't he? But you're right, it is what it is with him. And I mean, there was a third substitute. Now, Dominic Calvert-Lewin was blown for tugs. With 10 minutes left, he'd been battered a little bit by Tarkowski, and Ben maybe give him a few whacks. All part of it, nothing sinister, just part of being a hold-up striker against tough defenders. And he looked like he was limping a little bit, nearly said the word again. He looked like he was limping. And I thought Tosun was coming on. Tosun was warming up vigorously, like you did if you were ever sub. You were trying to catch the manager's eye. But I don't know whether he'd used enough spray or whatever. Yeah. But no. And then it was Phil Jagielka. And it was Phil Jagielka for no reason whatsoever, because it wasn't 2-1 and they put extra
2-0 90th minute.
2-0 90th minute. It should have been Cenk Tosun or Tom Davies, really. Yeah. And it was Jags, and Everton aren't saying it, but the crowd certainly thought it. And the manager, for me, that was the message, that this is the last time you're going to see Jags in a blue shirt at Goodison Park. That's what I took from it, and I believe he was a little bit tearful, potentially tearing up in an interview after the train. That could be it. And if it is, the crowd reception for him was fantastic, singing his name. Yeah. And he's been an incredible signing for, what was it, £4 million and £4 million and £1 from Sheffield United.
What great management it would be, though, if he does stay. Because the way I looked at it was, of course, the chances are that the manager might be thinking, I don't want you.
right? Okay. But what if he's like, well, I did it because I simply don't know. I know about Leighton Baines. Leighton Baines is staying.
Baines is staying.
Let's say,
Baines is staying.
But let's say Baines is staying. I know that, so I don't need to worry about that. But I don't know, and this could be your last time at Goodison Park as an Everton player. So there's 3 minutes to go. We're 2-0 up. I haven't made a song and dance about it. I haven't made sentimental thing. I'm just going to put you on.
But it is sentimental.
No, I know it is. But he didn't say before, like, there's not in the, like, you know what I mean? Like, he didn't say in the press conference, if I get a chance, I'll give Jags for, like, 2 minutes.
No.
He came on, Seamus gave him the armband, and he got on and he just played, and he played the game, and he made a couple of clearances, and if Jags goes back to the change room and or whatever, and he's speaking to the manager's like, well, you haven't signed a deal. For all I know, you might want to leave, but I had to give you that. In terms of management, I think that's great management to pay respect, just in case he doesn't sign.
I think it's great management anyway, even if it is the end of him. And he's made that decision. If Marco Silva's like, listen, because I think Phil Jagielka is probably himself thinking, I've got a year left. Right? Now, at the end of the day, what's the point in him staying at Everton if he thinks he wants to play for another season? You're a long time retired. So if he thinks, I want one more season, Arsenal give me that the other week when I scored, it gave me the taste for playing. Yeah. And he looks and goes to Marco Silva, am I going to play? And the manager's like, well, if Kurt Zouma stays, him, Mina and Keane are my 3, and then we've got Mason Holgate coming back. You're just simply not going to play unless there's an emergency. Now, Sheffield United, and I'm using them because he's played before and he just got promoted, they could say to him, that Chris Wilder could be like, listen, I want you to play 20 games at least next season for me, because we're going to need a leader. We haven't got big pots of money to spend. We need a leader with experience, not against the top 6 or top 7, we can write them off forever, but against the bottom 6, which the likes of Cardiff haven't done well enough in Fulham. And Jagielka's got that experience. So I think for him, it'd be a shit. I'd be gutted if he leaves, because I've loved him and he's been, people will criticise his captaincy because we haven't won anything or because he's not the most vocal. But for £4 million as a centre-back, we've had him for 12 years, he's been incredible. And I love him, or 11 years, whatever it is. I love him. I think he's just, and he always looks great when he comes back for pre-season with his tan. But, and I hope he ends up back at the club, I really do. This is a kid that was at the club and left and we had to pay to get him back. But for him, you're a long time retired, and if he can go and get 15 to 20 games at another Premier League club, then he should do that, really, because he's not going to play in our first team. It's as simple as that. But
if it was the end, then it was a nice end, and
of course, we won the game.
It'll leave him with a nice thing that there's no hard feelings. It's a professional decision, but I'll give you something.
He's 36. He's not 27. It's time, as we know. It's a big old pitch that when kids are running around, isn't it?
You say that's good after class time.
I wasn't playing, and the level of them mustn't have been very good. That's all.
Say that again. Jamie Carragher was playing
against you.
I didn't say that. Just
there you go. Well, I mean, to give it some context. But like you say, a nice fitting end if that is to be the end of it.
Thank you to everyone who watched live.
And got involved with all your comments.
And just generally thank you to everyone who's watched, and anyone who left a comment, and
thank you to everyone who supports us on Patreon.
Yeah.
And that, I mean that.
If you haven't watched this on Patreon and you've watched it on YouTube, this is the kind of thing we do on Patreon. Live shows where you can interact, where we interact with the people at home. That's what you can get involved in, and it's going to be great, because in the summer there's going to be loads of that, because there'll be nothing else to do.
There'll be no other footy.
No other footy.
Wasn't World Cups or nothing, but there you go.
There you go.
Life.
Thanks for watching. We'll see you later.
They're not awful.
LED lights are awful. They are.
Okay.
See you later.
See you later.